What's up, outsiders? It's time to talk about mental health. Currently, 2 out of 5 people are struggling with some form of mental health.
First, I put it up, I found it. Golly, look
For those of you that don't know me, my name is Brandon, and I am a certified mental health first aider, and I'm also a certified resiliency training assistant. I've been providing training to people for just over a year now. The latest science says there are 8 skills we can practice to become more resilient. Today, we're going to talk about resiliency skill number 6, which is called celebrate the good news. I know I haven't made a video on skill 5 yet, but I'll do that later. Skill 6 is fresh on my mind because I just taught it, so let's go over that right now. Okay, before we jump into learning skill 6, let's talk about why we care about mental resilience, and then we'll learn how to do skill number 6. I'll also say this is an hour-long class, and we're going to sum all this up in under 10 minutes. Really quick, why resiliency matters. If you want to know all the details, go watch the video on skill number 1, gratitude, and it gives a whole list of why we should train to be more resilient. In a nutshell, we can train many different parts of our physical fitness to improve. There's many different skills that come with physical fitness: strength, cardio, diet. Well, the same thing's true for our mental health and for our resilience. There are different skills we can train to become more resilient. And today we're going to learn about skill number 6 for resilience, celebrating the good news. So before we jump in, I just want to say one last thing. I think this is tied for the easiest skill to implement as far as increasing your resilience. It's very easy. It's very simple. It's tied with the first video or the first skill, gratitude. These are very simple. And if you just practice them, your resilience will go up and your mental health will improve. So let's get started. So how does celebrating good news increase our resilience? You only got to know 2 things. Relationships are critical for your personal resilience, and celebrating good news helps us increase and build our relationships, strengthen our relationships, and maintain those important relationships. So celebrating good news helps with relationships. Relationships help with our resilience. So this skill is not necessarily about us sharing good news. It's about what we do when somebody else shares good news with us. And if we respond properly, we'll build that relationship and we'll build resilience for ourselves and for that other person. Let's talk about 3 responses that can deflate somebody's good news. You can squash somebody's response, you can shut them down, or you can steal from them. Let's talk about what each of those are real quick. If somebody gives you good news, you could squash it. That means you point out problems and provide negative feedback. Number 2, you could shut down and just say, that's nice, and go back to your phone or go back to your work and ignore them. That's called shutting down. The third way to deflate somebody is to steal. They share good news and then you just focus on yourself and ignore what they just said. Let's talk about some examples of each of these. So I go up to a friend and I say, hey, I get to go on vacation next week. And they could squash that response by saying, do you think you'll be able to get time off to do that? Vacations can be expensive. Are you ready for paying for overpriced hotels? You know, they always gouge foreigners and people that are out of town. Being a vacation can be a lot of hassle. That'd be how you could squash somebody's good news. Number 2, they could shut you down. I could tell a friend I'm going on vacation and they just say, that's cool, that's nice, and then turn around and ignore me or not say anything else. That's called the shut down. Third way to deflate somebody's good news is called stealing. So I go up to somebody and say, hey, I get to go on vacation next week. And they say, oh, let me tell you, that's great. Let me tell you about my vacation. Let me show you some pictures. I had such a great time at the place I went to. I was able to rest up and do so many cool, and they just make it all about them. So that's how you can steal. Those are the three main ways that people deflate somebody's good news. Now let's give an example of how we can celebrate good news. Hey buddy, I'm going on vacation. That sounds really fun. Where are you going? Have you been there before? I know you've been working a lot and you deserve this trip. 4 easy tips to help someone celebrate good news if they approach you. Number 1, just ask questions. Number 2, show enthusiastic support and interest in what they're talking about. 3, be authentic. 4, just be engaged and interested. So you can just do one of those things, but if you do all 4, even better. That's all it takes. Let's talk about some key points, get down in the weeds a little bit about some things you should think about when you want to celebrate good news. We're just going to dig down just a little bit. 5 quick key points. 1, it's not about the news that's being shared with you. It's about the person. You may not care what they're talking about, their vacation, the package they got in the mail, but you care about them. So if you want to increase your resilience, help them celebrate good news. Second key point, help the person savor the moment. Ask them questions, come alongside them and help them relive the excitement that they feel. Key point number 3, if you're concerned about the news they're sharing, it's not dangerous, but you're just concerned about what they're doing. Consider having 2 conversations. Conversation A, then conversation B. Conversation A always comes first. Hey, I'm really excited for you. Tell me more about that. And then, after you've done that, conversation B. Let me share a few things that I'm concerned about since you're going to go skydiving, whatever you're concerned about. Just be honest, but don't forget to celebrate their excitement and their good news first. That's tip 3. Key point number 4 out of 5, don't celebrate something that's dangerous. Intervene if needed. If they tell you something that is dangerous, it's okay to step in and go, look, I don't know if we should be excited about this. And talk through that with them. But you don't want to encourage dangerous behavior. Key point number 5 about celebrating good news, you should know that this provides a gateway to conversation. And if you're there for somebody when they're sharing good news, you're building rapport. And they may be more likely to come to you when things are bad because you're such a good listener and so good at celebrating news when things are good. So there's 5 key points. It's not about the news, it's about the person. Help them savor the moment. If you're concerned, have conversations A and B. Don't celebrate something dangerous. And remember, this provides a gateway to conversation, which helps you build a relationship, improve resilience, improve your health. One way I like to think about that last key point is like a piggy bank. It's money in the bank. Every time somebody shares good news with you and you respond in a way that celebrates what they're talking about, you're putting a deposit in that piggy bank. And you can make lots of deposits. That way, if you respond negatively one time or say something they don't like, you made a withdrawal. That's okay though. You've made enough deposits with positive interactions. This person is still going to feel comfortable coming to you. And here's another pro tip. These conversations, celebrating good news, does not have to take a long time. You can just ask 2 questions. It might take 2 minutes. It does not have to be a long time. It just needs to be genuine interest in the person for a short amount of time. These do not have to be 10 or 20 or 30-minute conversations. Although they can be, if you want them to be, it's not necessary. So keep making those little 2-minute deposits. Normally at this point in the training, I would stop and play a short video from a show called Big Bang Theory. I'll put a link in the comments to a YouTube link to a little 2 or 3 minute clip from Big Bang Theory of 2 characters going on a date. And you can watch that and think about how one person's trying to share good news and one person may not be helping them celebrate. So check out that, pause this video, go check out that 3-minute clip, and then come back to this video. Okay, now that you've watched that clip, how do you think Amy felt after she shared her good news and Sheldon deflated her response? How do you think that made her feel? Second question, what methods of deflation was Sheldon using? Was he squashing? Was he shutting down? Was he stealing? Was he doing more than one of those? Think about that. It's not hard to use multiple methods of deflating someone's good news within a very short period of time. It's common for us to deflate people that are closest to us and that we care about the most without even realizing how much we do it because we're just used to being around them. So here's a quick activity for you. I want you to think about the past few weeks and if anyone has shared good news with you. Pause the video and think about, when's the last time somebody shared some good news with me? Okay, you've thought about that time that you heard some good news from somebody recently? How did you respond? Pause the video. Think about, how did you respond? However you responded, think about what you did and think about if that's normal. Do you have a pattern to the way you respond to people's good news? I can tell you what mine is. I typically steal. I typically get excited that somebody is going on vacation, and so I want to tell them about my vacation. I don't have ill intentions, but I do it, and it's not the healthiest way to build relationships and build resilience. So I know now that I have to stop stealing and use this skill to start asking people questions and invest in them for a couple minutes instead of just making it about me. You should think about ways that you can respond differently in the future if you use one of those deflating responses as well. So here's a quick review. Celebrating good news builds relationships, and relationships are important to mental resilience. And if you're more mentally resilient, you'll be more mentally healthy and physically healthy as well. Again, watch video 1 if you want to see all the benefits of building of what resilience does for you. So just remember, celebrate good news, just be authentic, ask some questions, show some support, be interested, spend a couple minutes. That's all it takes. You guys are now certified professionals for skill number 6, celebrating good news. If there's anything I can do to help you guys on your mental health journey, reach out to me any way you can. I prefer YouTube comments. That's the easiest for me, but if you got another way to get a hold of me, just get a hold of me. And I will help you, or I will get you to somebody that can help you. But here's the one thing I can tell you. If you're struggling with mental health, if you're struggling with resilience, and you want to improve your life, you have to take the first step. You got to reach out to me. You got to reach out to someone that you trust and start taking steps to get some help or start changing things in your life. Because we all know if you keep doing the same thing, you get the same results. So reach out if you need some help. That's it. Stay physically healthy. Stay mentally healthy. Go play outside and go practice celebrating good news.